What's good? What's good? I'm back. Yours truly, one and only Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and much more. Right now, we're pre-recording for YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, BitChute, Twitter, and Twitch. And the audio version goes to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, TuneIn, Stitcher, Slacker, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and much more. Plus, I'm live on TikTok over here to the right of me as well. And no, I can't accept nobody on my TikTok live because I can't interact. I have to go over these scores and whatnot. So I'm gonna go over Series 1, Game 2s for the NBA. So I gotta go back to what are we? I think the 17th. So Brooklyn beat Brooklyn lost to Philly on the game 2. And Sacramento, of course, beat Golden State. Brooklyn might could get a game. They might could pull a game off. Cam Johnson, former Tar Heel, had a good game, 28 points. Might be his best playoff game ever. Mikal Bridges gave you 21. Not his usual 30-piece since he's been over there. Spencer Dinwiddie only gave you 12. Looks like Kyle Kuzma was right about him. Seth Curry only gave you 9 off the bench. That's basically why he ain't getting a bunch of minutes. Royce O'Neal 6, Joe Harris 0. If I'm the Nets, I definitely keep Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, probably Nick Claxton, Mikal Bridges. Everybody else can go on once they lose this series. Philadelphia, you got 20 from Tobias Harris with 12 rebounds, 20 from Joel Embiid with 19 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 blocks, and a steal. 33 from Maxey, and James Harden gave you 8 with 7 assists. James Harden ain't got to give you a ton of points if Maxey's giving you 33 points and Joel Embiid's giving you 20 and 19 and 7 assists. And Tobias Harris gave you a 20 and 12, which Tobias Harris, he needs to be more consistent with the scoring for what he's getting paid. But they're up 2-0, and they should be because the Brooklyn Nets don't have a all-star per se or a superstar, even though I do think Mikal Bridges will be an all-star next year. Golden State lost to the Kings, and of course Draymond got ejected and suspended, and that's the big talk because Domantas Sabonis basically uh, football style grabbed his leg, and then Draymond Green did I guess he was just watched the new Mario Brothers movie because Super Mario jumped off of Domantas Sabonis' chest. And Foxes and Bonus both scored 24 points in this game. Sabonis gave you 24 with 9 rebounds, 24 and 9 assists from Fox. Davion Mitchell gave you 14 off the bench. Monk gave you 18. Malik Monk has been a very, very valuable asset off the bench, probably the number 1 scorer off the bench. Kevin Huerter gave you 15 and 13 from former Tar Heel Harrison Barnes. Keegan Murray didn't do much. He only played 16 minutes and only shot 1 shot. I don't know if he got hurt or if he just wasn't playing well. On the Warriors side, you got 22 from Andrew Wiggins, 21 from Klay Thompson, 28 from Steph Curry, 13 from Gary Payton II, and Jordan Poole didn't do much. 21 points for Klay Thompson isn't enough. He was also a negative 11. Right now, man, Klay Thompson is the weak link. I would start Jordan Poole over Klay Thompson and bring Klay off the bench. And that way you put a chip on his shoulder right now because I think Jordan Poole is a better scoring asset to have out there starting than Klay Thompson, in my opinion. Let's pull up these other games. Of course, Atlanta lost to Boston again. I don't expect Atlanta to win a game in this series. If they do, it'll be game 4 when they're down 3-0. It's like super desperate, and Celtics might just get complacent and take their foot off the brakes a little bit. DeAndre Hunter for the Hawks gave you 18 and 12. Let me zoom this out. So you got 18 and 12 from Hunter, 29 and from DeJounte Murray with 4 steals, 6 assists, 24 from Trae Young, and 18 from Bogdanovich. In a regular season NBA game, you would have probably won with a player scoring 29, 24, another one scoring 18 with 12 rebounds, and 18 for Bogdanovich. But Bogey gave you 18. But, I mean, you got nothing from Clint Capella. John Collins gave you nothing. Sadiq Bey played 14 minutes and gave you nothing. And he was super aggressive that one game, the playing game. Jaylen Brown gave you 18, 29 from Jason Tatum with 10 rebounds and 6 assists, 26 from Derek White, 14 from Marcus Smart, 13 from Malcolm Brogdon, and Al Horford gave you 8, and Robert Williams gave you 8 as well. They had 5 people score double figures, which is more than Atlanta's 4. That's what I'm saying. It just ain't going to be enough. Because the Celtics got Jaylen Brown could put up 20 pieces, Jason Tatum, Derek White, who put up 26 with 7 rebounds. Marcus Smart gave you 14 with 6 assists, 3 steals, and 5 rebounds on 1 turnover. He was a plus 10. Al Horford was a plus 20, and he didn't even really score by 8 points. Malcolm Brogdon, I mean, he could put up 20 points off the bench on any given night. He was only had 13 points, so he was a plus 20 because he also had 8 assists, 7 rebounds, a block, and a steal on 1 turnover. Celtics right now, man, are looking like, and right now in the playoffs, they're looking like the favorites to come out the East. Cavs, Garland pours in 32 for the Cavs. They even the series with the Knicks. RJ Barrett gave you 14, 22 from Randall with 8 rebounds, 20 from Jalen Brunson, but he was a negative 10. Everybody was a negative pretty much. Negative 29 for Josh Hart. Nobody did nothing off the bench except Emmanuel Quickly with 12 points. Cleveland Cavs, you got 13 and 13 rebounds and 2 steals and 2 blocks from Evan Mobley. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks, and 3 steals from Jared Allen. 24 from Donovan Mitchell. Oh, my bad. No, 17 from Donovan Mitchell. He was a plus 24. He gave you 13 assists with 17 points because Darius Garland gave you 32, and Karis LeVert, 24 off the bench. That's another thing. You got Karis LeVert coming off the bench. You got Cedi Osman coming off the bench. And you got veteran Danny Green. The Cavs are going to be interesting in the playoffs. I like to see how far they could go. Because Danny Green was a nice pickup for them, a veteran piece. But Cedi Osman and Karis LeVert coming off the bench is 2 of the best bench scorers you could probably have in the league to go with this 5 that you got. And I got Cavs winning that series. Booker erupts for 38, and Suns bounce back victory, tie it up. They beat them 123-109 over the Clippers. 31 points from Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is doing his thing. Russell Westbrook actually gave you 28 points in this game with 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks. He was a negative 13, though, still. The game when he actually scores a lot, they lose, and he was a negative 13. Eric Gordon only gave you 12 points. He was a negative 17. You got 22 off the bench between Norman Powell and Terrence Mann, but it wasn't enough. Torrey Craig put up 17, 25 from Kevin Durant with 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks. He did have 5 turnovers, though. 14 points, 13 rebounds from Ayton, 38 from Booker with 9 assists, 16 and 8 assists from Chris Paul with a steal, a block, and only 1 turnover. You didn't really get much off the bench, but all the starters scored in double figures. And they all scored over 14. So, yeah. And the Suns, like, they're going to have to rely on their starting 5 to really blow people out. I don't know how well that's going to work in the playoffs when you normally have to rely on a 7 to 9 man rotation. You got to tremendously rely on them. All right, last night's games. Memphis. I mean, these games they're kind of interesting. 2 of the games are interesting. Like, I had Lakers winning the series over Memphis, but if you can't even beat Memphis without Ja Morant, you don't deserve to win this series. You let Xavier Tillman put up probably the best game of his life. They won 103-93 over the Lakers. See, LeBron had 28 points, but he was a negative 17 with his 12 rebounds. Anthony Davis had 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 blocks. Like, Anthony Davis is definitely doing his thing on the defensive end, night in, night out. He only took 14 shots and only made 4. Anthony Davis hits his shots, they probably win this game. And D'Angelo Russell. Like, that's the thing. Like, they literally blew this game. D'Angelo Russell was 2 for 11. I mean, he just hits a few more shots, and Anthony Davis hits a few more shots. They win this game. They really do. Rui Hachimura gave you 20 points off the bench. He's put up 20 points both of his playoff games with the Lakers. D'Angelo Russell only gave you 5 points, which, like, I don't know, man. Like, it almost seems like it'd be better to have Russell Westbrook and Austin Reeves right now. Like, Austin Reeves starting with Russell Westbrook, because D'Angelo Russell, this is always going to give you in the playoffs, man. It wasn't worth it. Let's go to Memphis without Ja Morant. You got 12 from Dylan Brooks, 18 from Jaren Jackson with 9 rebounds, 22 from Xavier Tillman with 13 rebounds. He was leading scorer for Memphis, 17 from Desmond Bain, 10 from Tyus Jones with 8 assists, 13 from Luke Kennard off the bench, and you got 9 from David Rodley. Lakers don't deserve to win the series, man. If you can't beat Memphis without Ja Morant, and you got LeBron James, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, Dennis Schroeder, Troy Brown, and Malik Beasley, who all played. No way, no how do you deserve to win. Miami Heat, that's another one. They lost to this was opportunity, man, to make, like, if they needed to win this game. No Giannis. They won last game when Giannis got hurt. No Giannis. Duncan Robinson ends up starting because Tyler Hero's out. He puts up 14 points, 25 from Jimmy Butler, 18 from Bam Adebayo, Max Strauss and gave you 4, and 16 from Gabe Vincent. And Caleb Martin, 15, and Victor Oladipo, 15. This is the problem. Their starting guards for Miami just can't give you enough. They just can't give you enough. And Duncan Robinson ain't even hardly be getting no minutes. He's one of the worst contracts in the league right now is Duncan Robinson. Chris Middleton gave you 16. Only 16. You only got 16 from Chris Middleton. He lost this game. 13 from Bobby Portis. Brook Lopez gave you 25. Drew Holiday gave you 24, who was actually voted by the players voted him. The players that did voted Drew Holiday as the best defensive player in the league, and they voted him the most underrated player in the league. And it seems that way because he put up 24 with 11 assists last night, 5 rebounds, and 1 steal. He was a plus 28. Joe Ingles was a plus 28, 17 points off the bench. That's the thing, man. Oh, man. Milwaukee, Pat Connaughton put up 22 off the bench. Jay Crowder didn't. He gave you 15 minutes. They still got Jay Crowder and Goran Dragic. Man, Milwaukee is deep. They are deep. Milwaukee and Boston are got to be the deepest teams in the league right now. They have to be. Milwaukee and Boston, man. They literally got Joe Ingles coming off the bench, Jay Crowder coming off the bench, Pat Connaughton. These guys could start. Goran Dragic, Myers Leonard. Come on, man. Like, what? And they moved Bobby Portis actually comes off the bench. Typically, they moved him into the starter position to take Giannis. They typically got Bobby Portis, Jay Crowder, Joe Ingles, Goran Dragic, and Pat Connaughton coming off the bench. That is a crazy deep bench. Minnesota, good game. This is a good game. I learned a lot from this game. And after I go to the box score, I'm going to get into it. Minnesota, they played a good game. Anthony Edwards gave you 41 points, 19 from Rudy Gobert with 8 rebounds. Karl Anthony Towns only gave you 10 points and 12 rebounds. He was 3 for 12 shooting. 12 from Taurean Prince, 14 from Mike Conley, 7 assists. Kyle Anderson, 10 and 7 rebounds, 4 assists off the bench. Denver, Michael Porter Jr. didn't do much most of the game, but towards the end, he made a lot of key shots, 16 points, 12 from Aaron Gordon, 10 rebounds, 27 from Nikola Jokic with 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 40 points from Jamal Murray. And I saw a highlight from old man Jeff Green. Jeff Green still got crazy hops. 40 points from Jamal Murray. Jeff Green gave you 11 off the bench. Oh, man, Jeff. This is what I learned from this game. Minnesota, they might could win a game at home, maybe. But this is what I learned. Minnesota went all in a year too early. Why do I say that? Because Anthony Edwards isn't quite ready. He ain't quite ready yet. Anthony Edwards isn't quite ready yet. And he's averaging 24, 5, and 4 for the season. He's only got 2 years under his belt. Like, we gotta pump the brakes. This needs to be probably Anthony Edwards' team. I don't know if they should keep Karl Anthony Towns, but if they do, he's gotta understand and realize this is Anthony Edwards' team. You're the number 2 guy. They went all in a little too early with this Rudy Gobert thing because Anthony Edwards isn't quite ready yet. They probably need to move on from Karl Anthony Towns just so people know it's Anthony Edwards' team. And they could have went all in with a lot better player than Rudy Gobert. And that's the thing. If you're looking to go all in with a big man for Rudy Gobert, like, I wouldn't have went in with like Rudy Gobert. I would have did like maybe Vucevic from the Bulls, somebody like him. You know, I don't know why you couldn't went all in with a point guard. You could have like really would have been all in. Would have been getting like um, DeJounte Murray, like Atlanta did last year, or try to get Trey Young this coming up year, or even Kyrie Irving when he was up for trade. Even though he probably would have never went to Minnesota, he probably would have never approved Minnesota. But they went all in a year too early, and probably a couple years too early, because this is Anthony Edwards' team now, and he's only 2 years in the league. So they got to figure out. They gotta have a lot of things to figure out. Do I keep Rudy Gobert? Because like Karl Anthony Towns, I mean, he could put up some points, but he don't play much of defense. Maybe you could get him for a guy. Maybe you could trade him for like a Julius Randle or something, who will clearly be a second or third option. You know, and Mike Conley's getting a little too old. He's probably a 1 year um, ordeal, but it let me know that they went all in a little too early. Anthony Edwards is too young. Um, most cats don't really start winning to their ninth year in the league. Anthony Edwards might be a cat that can compete, year 3, year 4. He might could when you're putting up 41-point games in the playoffs. Your second year in the playoffs, second game in the first round. He might could be a cat that could compete his third and fourth year. But most cats don't compete to their, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth years, So let's pump the brakes. They went all in too early, way, way too early. And definitely, and I'm going to just say a year too early, because I think Anthony Edwards would be probably ready next year to really compete. To get like probably, to the second, third round, maybe get to like second round Western Conference Finals or something. But we got to pump the brakes on. This ain't NFL where you can win with a star player on a rookie contract unless you got the Miami Heat. You got a Shaquille O'Neal, Dwayne Wade, Gary Payton, Jason Williams, Antoine Walker, Antoine Walker was probably second, third leading scorer on that team. Dwayne Wade was the number one leading scorer when it came playoff time, and he took off playoff time tremendously. But all year long, that was Shaq's team. Miami first year, and then Shaq handed over to Dwayne Wade afterwards. But let's pump the brakes, man. Like Anthony Edwards don't got a Shaq. Karl Anthony Towns ain't Shaq. Rudy Gobert ain't Shaq. And they don't got no veterans like, Gary Payton, Jason Williams, Antoine Walker, Posley. The backup center was Alonzo Mourning, So if I'm not mistaken, Alonzo Mourning was the third pick in the draft behind Shaquille O'Neal. I think Shaq went number 1. Alonzo Mourning went like number 3. So there's that. You had 2 players that were top 3 in the same draft, and Alonzo Mourning was he was not a scrub. He was for the Hornets. Alonzo Mourning was not a scrub when he was at the Hornets. Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, did their thing every year. They just didn't have enough to get over the hump. So yeah, man. Minnesota went on in too early. And I don't know if the Lakers are going to win this series. I got the Suns beating the Clippers unless Paul George comes back next game. Bucks will beat the Heat. Even like somebody, Barkley made a point, And I think Kenny Smith and them act like it was crazy, but I understood what he was saying. He was saying that, okay, Giannis is out, Tyler Hero's out. So he was saying that the Bucks have a better chance of beating the Miami with Tyler Hero being hurt than Miami has a chance of beating the Bucks with Giannis being hurt. And clearly, I just showed you the bench, how deep the bench is. They got bench players that would be starting on Miami right now. Bucks bench players would be starting on Miami right now. Bobby Portis would be starting for Miami. Joe Ingles would be starting for Miami, especially Tyler Hero's hurt. You know, I mean, the Bucks are deep. They're super deep. I got Cavs beating the Knicks, 76ers, gentleman sweep or sweeping the Nets. I got Sixers sweeping or gentleman sweeping the Hawks. I think the Grizzlies are going to beat the Lakers now that the Lakers just didn't capitalize. I still got the Warriors beating the Kings. I'm not a Warriors fan at all. I got no dog in this fight. No dog in this fight. I just think experience will prevail. I got Suns over Clippers and Nuggets sweeping or gentlemen sweeping the T-Wolves. T-Wolves just went all in a year too early, and they gave up too much for Rudy Gobert, and now they're going to have to trade probably Karl Anthony Towns to get some of that back. You know, so yeah. And let me go to NFL.com real quick. I'm going to just look on the front page, see if I see anything that's newsworthy. I do got a video I'm going to react to with the Jalen Hurts contract, but it's not, I don't do reacts when I go live because you can't see the video I'm reacting to while I'm live on TikTok. I'm not seeing that newsworthy. So that's pretty much it. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. Paul Pickett Podcast, and I'm out.